Bowl hangover has become a trend that is impossible to ignore. Almost every single season, one of the two championship teams has unraveled the following year. The hangovers become a near annual occurrence, but it's not a curse or some weird football voodoo. Rather, it's a natural regression following an outlier season. Most Super Bowl teams are coming off years where everything has gone right, but now have to worry about paying players more money, losing some of those players, less injury luck, a tougher schedule, and players coming off career years regressing back to their career norms. Right now, the 49ers are struggling with each and every one of these problems. Their 2-3 record isn't terrible, but the teams they've faced and the manner in which they've played have been. Their opponents are a combined 6-18-1, and after being blown out 43-17 by a 1-3 Dolphins team, major questions are being asked. What is so different between this year's team and last's? Of course, injuries have played a major role, but the struggles, specifically on offense, fall into three critical areas. They can't generate explosive plays on the ground or through the air, the O-line's gone from a strength to a weakness, and Jimmy Garoppolo is not capable of carrying an offense. Yes, he did injure his ankle in week 2, so I don't hold his 1.4 QBR against the Dolphins too much against him. I'm talking about his week 1 performance against the Cardinals, where he was fully healthy and single-handedly lost the 49ers the game. Let's first take a look at a play Jimmy hit, because it sets up how he and Kyle Shanahan adjusted later in the game. Shanahan is a master at identifying matchups, shifting players into that matchup, and then predicting future defensive adjustments to counter the play he just ripped you on. The Cardinals want to play man-free coverage, which is man with a free safety deep, and on this play a strong safety blitz. Shanahan wants to isolate the rookie linebacker Isaiah Simmons, so he sends Kittle across on a trade shift to switch up the Cardinals' assignments. Simmons doesn't follow Kittle, but instead realigns to Raheem Mostert. And since the strength of the offense is now on the other side with Kittle, the safeties also rotate so they can still blitz strong. When Jimmy sees that rotation, he audibles. He knows the middle of the field is open and Simmons is isolated on Mostert, so he changes to the 49ers' choice stucco concept, where Mostert has the option to go inside or out based on Simmons' leverage. Since they're blitzing the safety, they don't have a low hole rat defender, and when Simmons sees the outside release and feels Dante Pettis stemming inside to pick him off, he assumes they're running some type of drag and rub concept and breaks too hard to the flat. Garoppolo sees the open middle of the field and makes a perfect but fairly easy throw to Mostert, who does the rest. Shanahan knows how defensive coordinators think. He puts himself in their shoes and attacks the adjustments he knows they'll make later in the game. But even the best play calls still require the players and the quarterback to execute. The 49ers use a similar formation with Juice and Mostert in the backfield, but have Kittle in a nub alignment, meaning there's no receivers outside of him. Since Simmons is locked on him, Jimmy knows it's man coverage pre-snap. Shanahan knows the Cardinals are wary of getting burned up the middle and won't let it happen again. So he anticipates that instead of playing man free, they'll adjust and play cover 1 rat. He calls choice stucco again, but with some modifications. Assuming the rat will shade towards the choice route, the stucco concept, just like before, has Kittle's stick China route breaking into the open hole. And if the rat aggressively takes away the choice, Kendrick Bourne will be open on a dig route breaking behind him. Jimmy has two options. He can key the rat and just play the numbers game, or use his eyes to manipulate the rat, then throw the dig. The play isn't as straightforward as the Mostert touchdown, but requires next-level quarterback play that franchise-type guys have to possess. Jimmy even has Pettis up top on the go, but he hesitates and takes a sack. One of the biggest strengths of 2019's offense was their ability to generate explosive plays, which are gains of 20 yards or more. They had the second highest rate in the league, but this year they've fallen all the way down to 23rd. It's very difficult for any offense to sustain drives and score points without explosive plays. And when your offense can't sustain drives, your defense is forced to play more than they can handle. The defense played 78 snaps in this game, but with a minute 20 left, the 49ers still had a shot to win. They had a wide open explosive play to give them the lead, but Garoppolo missed the throw. They're running their curl concept, which is a through route from Kittle, a flat route from Jordan Reed, and what looks like a wide and curl from Bourne, but is actually a double move. Shanahan doesn't just call a play in hopes that it works. He had already set up Bourne's double move on the play directly before. It's the same formation with Kittle and Reed on the same routes, and Bourne breaking down in front of the two quarters defenders to give the next concept a better chance of succeeding. So now back to the first play with the nearly identical formation, the routes all set up. Chris Banjo and Pat P are caught driving on the curl or deep out, and Bourne gets as wide open as you can in the NFL. He has all this room to work, but the ball wobbles and falls short. Jimmy throws it on time. That's not the issue. It's his tendency to underthrow balls with bad arc and pace that float through the air. From the end zone angle, we can see how this thing quacks. It's way too soft and inaccurate, and the opportunity to win the game right there is squandered. A few plays later, on 4th and 5, they have 3 timeouts left and just need to convert to stay alive. He has Bourne and Taylor open, but instead of putting the ball where it has to be on the sideline, he underthrows it and the game ends. If Jimmy had hit the explosive pass to Bourne in the first place, the 49ers would have taken the lead with a minute left. But this season, they haven't taken advantage of those opportunities. Last year, their explosive pass rate was first in the NFL, and their explosive run rate was 6th. The run helped the pass, but with changes to the offensive line, that run game has struggled just as well. Joe Staley and Mike Person both retired, forcing Daniel Brunskill to be a full-time starter at right guard, and Ben Garland has regressed at center. According to Football Outsiders O-line adjusted line yards, the unit has gone from 8th to 29th. Defenses have been exploiting their issues up front by using the same game plan that Bill Belichick used against the Rams in the Super Bowl, a 6-1 formation designed to diminish the advantages of the zone run system. Since zone blocking is predicated on creating double teams, defenses have utilized the 6-1 alignment to force each O-lineman into one-on-one matchups, which has exposed both Garland and Brunskill. The 49ers are running what they call 19 bend, which is an outside zone run to the weak side of the formation. You can see how a double team like the one with Brunskill and McGlinchey can help a lineman. McGlinchey has a challenging assignment to cross Dexter Lawrence's face, but gets help from Brunskill, who uses his trail hand on Lawrence to push him outside, then climbs to seal the Mike linebacker. With Trent Williams and Laken Tomlinson sealing off the edge, Jeff Wilson can work through either A-gap as long as Garland can handle the D tackle. But he gets destroyed and is shot back into Wilson's lap before he even gets the ball. To beat the 6-1, if you can clear the 6-man front, there's only one second level defender to stop you. And here he's sealed off. But when Garland can't execute his block, the play gets blown up for a loss. Shanahan can scheme up perfect play calls all day long, but really all those calls can do is put his linemen in advantageous situations. They still have to go out and execute. The Giants are once again in their 6-1 front with the safety creeping down, and the 49ers are an 18 weak, which is a different type of outside zone run again to the weak side. To help the line, Shanahan uses another wide trade shift to move the interior D tackles to their right to help Garland and Brunskill. They have a center guard single block to the Mike, while McGlinchey blocks the end and Juice kicks out the force. Brunskill uses his trail hand once again to help Garland with Lawrence, and Garland does manage to get his helmet across his face to seal him out of the A-gap, But then he gets crushed. Brunskill has climbed to the mic to create an alley for the run, and there's a clear path. But a player like him in this much space against a quicker linebacker is bad news. If the running back already had the ball and was here, Brunskill would be in position between the backer and the ball. But he overruns the block, McGlinchey can't finish his guy anyways, and the play goes nowhere. Brunskill and Garland have struggled in the run game, but they haven't been the only ones. Juice and even Kittle haven't been quite as effective in the same ways they were last year. To try and get outside the six-man front, which is another way to beat it, the 49ers call 18 Quattro, which is a strong side toss. Kittle and McGlinchey have a tackle tight end double team. Shanahan calls it a triple block, which starts with the end and transitions to the mic, while Juice has to kick out the force defender to seal the edge. Kittle does a phenomenal job moving Emmanuel Ogbah inside, then climbing to a Landon Roberts. But Juice misses his block on Jerome Baker, allowing him to condense the lane and minimize the gain. This could have been another Mostert 75-yard house call. With Kittle and Debo sealing, it's right there. But every last block needs to be synced up and executed, otherwise you'll never move the ball. Shanahan eventually schemed up the 6-1 front with a nifty pin and pull concept and forced the Dolphins out of that alignment. But it's not like the 49ers' struggles are just because they're facing a new defense. There are a lot of problems that we didn't see pop up in 2019. And today we didn't even talk about the defense. When they're not as good and key aspects of the offense have deteriorated, that puts more pressure on Jimmy G to play more like a traditional drop-back quarterback. And to this point in his career, that's just not who he is. The 49ers need to rely on the run game and play action to help Jimmy and their offense create explosive plays like last year. But that takes improved execution from every level of the offense, which just hasn't been the case through week 5. The injuries have been absolutely brutal, and teams never play their best football with their stars sidelined. But those injuries shine a brighter spotlight on the players who are playing, and they've shown they can't pick up the slack. A Super Bowl hangover isn't just some weird curse. It actually makes a lot of sense. The 49ers lost DeForest Buckner, key offensive lineman, the Bosa injury, the receiver injuries, and after some of their players played the best they've ever played, that's not suddenly the new norm. In areas the offense needed to step up, they've instead struggled to create big plays. They've had a major drop-off in the interior of the offensive line, and Jimmy hasn't been able to carry the team, which is something he isn't really capable of doing. Luckily, the 49ers have Kyle Shanahan and they have John Lynch. They've built an organization that has gone from its absolute worst to its absolute best. My bet is on those two to take this situation and make it right again. The team is 2-3 and is far, far from dead. They've faced plenty of adversity before. Heading into week 6, let's see what the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan can cook up.